Picture this. You step into your backyard on a warm Saturday morning and your garden is absolutely glowing with life. The tomatoes are heavy with fruit, the flowers are bursting with color, and you haven't touched a single bag of fertilizer in months. No back pain from digging, no expensive chemicals, no constant watering. Your soil is doing all the heavy lifting for you, while you sit back with your morning coffee. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, stick with me, because I'm about to reveal 3 massive mistakes that are secretly killing your soil's natural power, and the shockingly simple fixes that will make your garden practically take care of itself. And trust me, you absolutely need to hear mistake number 2, because it's the most popular natural gardening hack on the internet right now, and it's quietly destroying the invisible army living in your soil that feeds your plants for free. Let's dive in. Alright, mistake number 1 is something most gardeners have never even heard of, but once you understand it, everything changes. I call this the invisible root secret, and it's all about tiny fungal partners called mycorrhizae. Now, I know that sounds like a mouthful, so let me break it down in plain English. Deep in your soil, there's an entire hidden world of microscopic fungal threads called hyphae, and these threads are 2 to 6 times larger than bacteria. They weave through the tiniest soil pores that your plant's roots could never, ever reach. Here's how the magic happens. Your plant releases sugars and proteins from its roots, kind of like laying out a welcome mat. The fungi pick up on that signal and start growing their network directly into and around the root cells. In return, these fungi secrete powerful enzymes that unlock nutrients like phosphorus, zinc, and iron that are chemically locked up in your soil. Then they deliver those nutrients straight into your plant's root cells through a process scientists call the rhizophagy cycle. It's a 2-way biological trade, and it's been happening for over 400 million years. The numbers here are absolutely mind-blowing. This fungal network increases your plant's nutrient-absorbing surface area by 10 to 100 times. That means your plant can suddenly reach 10 to 100 times more food without growing a single extra root. And here's the kicker. A strong mycorrhizal network can reduce your watering needs by up to 6 times, because those fungal threads act like tiny sponges holding moisture right where your roots need it. Think of it this way. Your plant's roots are like clumsy fingers that can only pick up the breadcrumbs dropped right next to them. Mycorrhizal fungi are like millions of invisible threads reaching into the deepest, tightest corners of the soil to fetch a nutrient smoothie and spoon-feed it directly to your plant. So what's the mistake? The mistake is tilling and aggressively digging your garden beds. Every time you turn the soil with a shovel or a rototiller, you're slicing through millions of these delicate fungal threads. It's like taking scissors to the veins that feed your plants. Here's the lazy gardener's secret, and I mean that as a compliment. Stop digging. Simply layer your compost or mulch on top of the soil and let the earthworms do the digging for you. This way, you protect that invisible fungal network, and your plants get stronger, healthier, and more drought-resistant without you lifting a finger. No back pain, no sweat, just results. Now, before we move on, I'm curious. Tell me in the comments, would you rather keep spending your fixed income on synthetic NPK fertilizers every month, or let these invisible fungal threads feed your plants for free, year after year. I really want to know what you think. Alright, let's talk about mistake number 2. And this one is going to surprise a lot of you. It's called the baking soda blunder. And I see this advice everywhere, on gardening forums, Facebook groups, and even some popular YouTube channels. Here's the deal. Baking soda, which is chemically known as sodium bicarbonate, or NaHCO3, is often recommended as a natural cure for powdery mildew on leaves. And yes, it does work on the surface. When you spray a baking soda solution on infected leaves, it spikes the pH on the leaf surface to around 8.5 to 9, which is highly alkaline. That sudden pH shift breaks the cell walls of the powdery mildew fungus and the white spots disappear. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Here's what nobody tells you. When that baking soda solution drips down into your soil, it carries sodium ions, which are basically salt. And salt is toxic to beneficial soil life. Your mycorrhizal fungi, the same invisible helpers we just talked about, thrive in a slightly acidic to neutral pH range of 5.5 to 8. When baking soda pushes the soil pH up to 8.5 or 9, it neutralizes the enzymes those fungi use to break down nutrients. The result? Your mycorrhizal network shrivels up and dies. You've just poisoned the very system that was feeding your plants for free. Let me put it this way. Using baking soda to treat leaf fungus is like pouring boiling water on the floor to kill a few bed bugs. Sure, the bugs die, but you also boil all the helpful earthworms living underneath. You're curing a cough on the leaves by poisoning the stomach in the roots. It makes no sense. Now, if you've already made this mistake and you're panicking, don't worry. There's a super lazy fix. Just leave your garden hose on a slow drip at the base of the affected plant for a few minutes. The water will gently flush and dilute the sodium out of the root zone without any digging, scrubbing, or manual labor. Let the water do the work while you sit down and relax. Here's my question for you. Now that you know the science, would you still use baking soda on your leaves? Or would you switch to a root-safe method that actually protects your soil? Drop your answer in the comments. Alright, now let's talk about the solution. And this is where it gets really exciting. This is mistake number 3, or rather, the mistake of not knowing about the Compost Tea Shield. Instead of using alkaline chemicals or salt-based sprays that kill both the bad guys and the good guys, there's a smarter, lazier, and scientifically proven method called competitive exclusion. Here's how it works. High-quality compost tea, especially the kind brewed in a beam bioreactor, contains 400 to 500 species of beneficial fungi and 2,700 species of beneficial bacteria. That's an entire microscopic army in a single gallon of liquid. When you dilute this tea at a 1:10 ratio and spray it onto your leaves, you're covering every square inch of leaf surface with beneficial organisms. These good guys consume all the physical space and all the available food, and they secrete natural compounds that are antagonistic to pathogens. Powdery mildew spores literally cannot find a place to land or germinate. It's like hiring a massive army of microscopic bodyguards to stand shoulder to shoulder on every leaf. The burglars can't even get through the door. But here's the bonus. When that compost tea drips down into the soil, it doesn't poison anything. Instead, It feeds your mycorrhizal network and adds even more beneficial microbes to the root zone. It's a win-win. And there's more. Spraying compost tea triggers your plant's own immune system through two pathways, called systemic acquired resistance, or SAR, and induced systemic resistance, or ISR. These pathways naturally thicken the protective wax layer on your leaves by 3 to 4%, making them even more resistant to future infections. Your plant literally becomes stronger and tougher without you doing anything extra. Think of it this way. Instead of using a chemical flamethrower that burns both friend and foe, you're hiring a massive army of microscopic bodyguards. The burglars can't even find a place to land, and when the tea drips into the soil, it's just extra soup for the roots. Now, I know some of you are thinking, that sounds expensive and complicated. But here's the lazy gardener's secret. You don't need to buy fancy brewing machines or complicated equipment. You can buy pre-made, high-quality organic compost tea bags online. Drop one in your watering can, let it steep overnight, and you're done. No stirring, no monitoring, no fuss. Just let it sit, dilute it the next morning, and spray. It's that simple. So let's recap what we've covered today. Mistake number 1, tilling and digging your soil, which destroys the invisible mycorrhizal network that feeds your plants for free. The fix: stop digging and just layer compost on top. Mistake number 2, using baking soda to treat powdery mildew, which poisons your beneficial soil fungi with sodium and alkaline pH. The fix: flush the soil with slow drip water if you've already made this mistake. And mistake number 3, not knowing about the Compost Tea Shield, which uses competitive exclusion and triggers your plant's own immune system to fight disease naturally. The fix: brew or buy compost tea, dilute it, and spray it on your leaves and soil. These 3 secrets will transform your garden from a high-maintenance chore into a self-sustaining ecosystem that practically takes care of itself. No more back pain, no more expensive chemicals, no more constant watering. Just a thriving, gorgeous garden that makes your neighbors wonder how you do it. Now, if you want a garden that works smarter, not harder, and you want to stop wasting money on products that actually hurt your soil, hit that subscribe button right now. Because next week, I'm going to show you exactly how to brew this miraculous, disease-crushing compost tea at home with zero fancy equipment. I'll walk you through every single step so you can start protecting your plants and feeding your soil the natural way. And before you go, I want to hear from you. What's the biggest gardening challenge you're facing right now? Is it pests, disease, poor soil, or something else? Drop your answer in the comments because I read every single one, and your question might just become my next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy gardening.